Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Legend from the Past and Future Show. I am Amar Wallace. We have tonight Mr. Yana Muyang. And Yana, how are you doing tonight?
All is well, Amon. Doing great. How about you?
All is well. Just trying to stay cool, man. And we got Roger in the
Oh,
house.
yeah.
What's up, Roger? How you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. Ready to get this show up and running. You know, gonna be a lot of alcoholics looking, so let's go.
Yeah.
Most of them we went to high school with. You know, they gonna be. That's all you gotta do is say liquor. They start looking then. Don't mess around and stay free. Stay free. See what happens.
I know it. I know it, man. Well, one thing I got to do, I want to thank all of them.
You have a big bash coming up.
What's up?
Oh, go ahead.
I got a big
No, I
what?
said, Amon, you have a big bash coming up, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Bash, birthday bash.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 22. 22. That's a big year.
Yeah, next month. We're gonna talk about that in detail a little bit later. But I just want to thank everybody who's been supporting us. Thank everyone who's been, man, they've been purchasing our merchandise from our website. Man, I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for spreading the word. Our viewership has gone up. Our following has gone up. I just want to thank everyone out there for being our supporters. What more can I say? What would you think about that, team? What do you think, Yana?
I think it's wonderful. Always tell people the story of how last year, towards the end, I had put out a post, on my different social media outlets saying that, hey, we were excited. We were at 1,600 followers. Now we're at 60,000 followers. And so it just comes to show that, when you put in the work and you're consistent and you put out good content, people are going to watch.
Absolutely. And 70,000 followers now. Yeah.
Oh, 70. Oh, excuse me. I stand corrected.
That was a little waiting for somebody to say the wrong number. He couldn't even get it out quick enough.
Right, exactly. 70,000 followers. So I'm just grateful for everyone, including you guys.
Yeah. Well, we got a powerhouse show tonight. We have owners of a Black-owned distillery, and my brother, he was interviewed on WRC. I wish I could have posted that, but I can't do it. But I can do this prior to them coming on. We're gonna have Floyd Bo, and his wife, Kimberly Wheeler, on the show tonight.
We're joined by the visionary duo behind Free State Distillery, Floyd Bo Wheeler and Kim Wheeler. Bo, a certified executive bourbon steward and SET Level 2 expert, brings deep industry knowledge backed by decades in national security, talent development, and leadership at Sun FDA. Alongside him is Kim Wheeler, the powerhouse behind the brand's operations and growth, helping turn a dream sparked by a holiday gift into a premium spirits label making national waves. Together, they're crafting more than spirits, they're building a legacy.
So I welcome none other than Bo and Kimberly. How you doing?
Hello.
Thank you so much for having us. How are you all?
Welcome to the show. Yeah. Welcome to the show. Now, this is what we do on this show before we kick everything off. We go back down memory lane. This question for both of you. Bo, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Cheverly, Maryland. I was raised in Upper Marlboro, Maryland for the most part. We moved to Brandywine when I was in high school. So
Awesome.
Born and raised in Maryland, went to college in Maryland, graduated Bowie State, and then did my master's at American in DC.
Hey, look, you don't be jumping the gun like that.
Get it out. Get it out.
Where'd you go to high school at, bro?
I went to Gwynn Park Yellow Jackets.
Did you play any football?
No, I played baseball and I wrestled, but I didn't play football. I played football up until I got to high school. That's a whole nother story.
Okay, cool. Now, was there anybody that you looked up to, anybody that you felt was a mentor, a strong mentor while growing up?
While growing up,
While growing
yeah, I mean, my father was probably the strongest influence growing up, and then I had lots of uncles as well, so all across the board. And then also my mom, I hung out with my mom probably most of the time during the summers because she used to work at Bowie State, so I would go up with her and just sit next to her desk while she was working for the entire summer. So we had a pretty close knit family. Mom, dad, sister. So they all, were mentors in my growth, for sure.
That's awesome. Did you pledge while you were at Bowie?
I did not pledge. My
Okay.
father was on the charter line of the Kappas, so it was always a little bit of pressure to pledge, but I did not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, somebody on our show, one of our hosts is a graduate from Bowie State University. You'll find that out.
Okay.
Kimberly,
Yes,
where were you
sir.
born and raised?
I was born and raised in Clinton, Maryland, all my life, Prince George's County. Shout out, Pretty Girl County. And I went to school at Bishop McNamara. Shout out Mustang. Anyone listening? Proud Mustang over here. I won't jump the gun and go further like Bo did.
Well,
But
Throw him under the bus. Throw him
Right.
under the bus.
We're not even a minute in.
So, what are some of the things that you did or you've done while growing up?
well, I have been working since I was 15. Shout
Okay.
out to my parents. They're both super hardworking individuals. They when I told them I wanted to get a job at 15, they were like, well, how are you going to get there? And I begged my father, bless his heart. I had a schedule. I said, if you can drop me off on these days and these times, they said they would hire me. And he helped me do that. And I will forever be grateful. I've always loved working really hard, making my own money. And that's something that they truly instilled in me, hard work, grit and grind. As far as my school and athletics go, I've always participated in track and volleyball. That's always been a passion of mine. Trying to think what else. When I was younger, I was an avid reader. Now that I'm older, it's hard to find the time to read. Now I'm more of a podcast and audiobooks person when I have time. But a lot of times I'm in the car on meetings. I'm on my phone, doing correspondences, comms, all that good stuff. So I need more hours in the day.
Well, you know what? Shout out to your parents for cracking that whip and having you work at an early age, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, did you go to college?
I did. I got my undergraduate and master's degree from University of Maryland. Shout out Terrapins.
Hey, before I pass it to Ayana, I want you two to know that you broke a rule tonight. Now you giving shout outs. All right. We don't give shout outs on this show.
Oh, I'm
We
so
do.
sorry.
Yes, we do. Oh, we do.
We do.
This-
Yes, we do.
So sorry.
Hey, I want to welcome Silk Sims to the show. Simplify, my brother, always faithful. On you, Yana.
It's forever faithful.
So you both went to college. What did you major in? I'll start with you, Bo.
Okay.
I majored in my undergrad in elementary education. So I started my career as a second grade teacher. Did second and fifth grade, and then my master's was in educational technology. And so it was. I was making educational CD-ROMs for about a month before the internet happened.
Don't think yourself. Don't think yourself.
Not the CD-ROM.
CD-ROM. Yeah. I spent a lot of time getting good at CD-ROMs for them to go away in an instant.
They went away quick.
Right. Yeah, so that was that was pretty much it. My 2 degrees, and both of them were in the education field.
Hey, and Mrs. Wheeler.
I got my undergraduate degrees. I double majored in psychology and criminology, and then I went on to get my master's of science in management.
Science. You said science and management.
Master's of science in management. Yes.
Oh, master's in management. Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you.
And I don't think we asked you, but who was inspirational to you growing up?
I would have to say my parents. My mom. I have 2 younger sisters, and we're 7 years apart. And being that with that huge age gap, and she had them as soon as I got out of school one summer. I was at 7 years old, first grade. She had twins.
Boom.
So yes. So I've always looked at her as an inspirational figure. She had these twin babies. It was a surprise. She didn't find out until she delivered them. So I was like, they used to call me little mommy. I was helping her feed babies in the middle of the night because I was out of school, and just, being there to support her and be there for her. She's always worked super hard. So she's definitely both my parents are my inspirations, but watching her go through that and being able to support her through that, it created a special bond between us, I would say.
Wow. All right, on to you, Roger.
Oh, that was awesome. But when you said that you went up there with your mom during the summer, with me, if I was sitting beside my mom, that means I was in trouble.
Well, there you go, right? That's why I was there. So I wouldn't do it in trouble.
If I was sitting by my mother, don't you move and don't say nothing, and you just sitting there, and then I never went. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I didn't cut you off, Roger.
No, you good. This your show. Look,
I was just gonna say,
if you want to give shout outs while you talking to me, shout them out.
I'm not giving no shout outs, but funny story is my mom's summer intern, one of those summers when I was there, was Tony Braxton. So Tony used to take me upstairs to get snacks out of the vending machine and then drop me back off at my mom's desk. So I couldn't even go upstairs by myself and come back. This is way before she became Tony Braxton, but it's just a cool.
Yeah, because Tony from Indian Head, Maryland. Right? Because her father and my father worked together at the Naval Ordnance Station.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when I saw her, she was a little girl. And life a trip. I never thought that little girl would have a powerful voice. When I met her, she was hiding behind her dad's leg, because I'm way older, peeking around the corner. Many moons ago, so I date myself. But here's the thing that's throwing me off now. Both of y'all take y'all time to answer this one. Now, I know y'all got degrees and different things. Y'all got a plethora of degrees up in that camp, But how did a master's in educational technology lead into the distillery business? Now, I got my own thing on how that happened. Messing with them kids probably drove you to drinking when you got off work. So you say, you know what? While you was drinking something, you said, I can make this myself. I could be off, but you want to tell us, break it down to us how all that happened.
Well, it's not. No, it definitely wasn't because of the kids. I'll tell you that. I enjoyed teaching. It was all the other stuff about, it was mostly the pay. Let's be honest. But I enjoyed teaching the kids for sure. I don't know. I think sometimes, especially from where I come from, I came up as an education major in elementary education, and then I got into adult education and was with the Department of Defense and National Security for a long time. One of the things that you end up doing is, if you're going to be standing in front of people teaching, whether it's a second grader or a colonel, you have to know what you're talking about, and you go deep down and sideways and deep and wide on this topic, so that you understand it when you're trying to teach it. And so that's what kind of happened with the bourbon. Once I realized and I started to know what I liked, and I started like playing around with like things that I could do, and people started asking me about it, then I didn't have the answers. And so just internally about, my career and my sort of profession, I had to then go down the rabbit hole to find all of those answers. And And that's kind of what it was, just going to get education. So, those were my degrees. But for this business, I went to Moonshine University to get the executive bourbon steward. With that, the Moonshine University is a thing. And I did a bunch of like the courses with them during COVID and prior to COVID. And then also there are worldwide programs for, learning about spirits. Wine and Educational Spirits, or Wine and Spirits Educational Trust is the one that I went to, just to continue to sort of broaden my horizon and really make sure I understood, all there was to learn about this business. So I think it was really that mindset of like having to know, everything about the business that I wanted to get into, that kept kind of feeding itself and just kind of got broader and broader and broader until it was like, okay, well, maybe I should make some money on this since I invested so much time and energy into it.
That's awesome. Now, enlighten me. Moonshine University, not back in the woods, is it?
No.
It's not back in the woods with a still back there, two guys sitting back there smoking pipes with long beards. That's not the school, right?
Well, no, look, now it's not back in the woods, but how you described it is mostly what it is. It's just right on the road. It's an accredited university, but it is a couple of guys with a still in the back, kind of like how we have back here, and you can go and take classes, and they run the whole gamut of classes, from grain and growing crops all the way to blending and bottling whiskey and everything in between. So it's an awesome kind of small institution.
Wow. Kim, what drew you into it? Because you got a psychology degree, so you can analyze people. So how analyzing people cause you to start drinking? I mean, what happened?
That definitely helped. Like my husband, I took that path because at the time I was interning working for the Secret Service, and the department I was in, that's what I thought I wanted to do. Definitely helps now, I would say, coming into this world. Prior to this, again, I was also federal, and the psychology aspect helps and supports in, reading the room and communications and body language and, your own little psychological assessments when you're talking and dealing with people. It's intuitive when it's time to cut someone off, though, at the bar. But you know how things have been going. Bo was in full-time 24/7. Life will life, and I ended up, all of a sudden now I have time to come in with you full-time 24/7, and I've just been doing my best to support. And my prior role, behind the scenes after my own job and on the weekends, just kind of grew into a little bit of a snowball. So now I'm just managing my little section over here, and I need more hours in the day. We need more hours in the day. I'll say that.
You said that already.
You need more hours in the day.
But that's how bad you need it.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna turn you. I was gonna say you need more drunks in the bar, but yeah, we go with more. Go ahead, Armin.
Hey, Brother Bo, your wife and psychology. I'm saying this because my wife has a doctorate in psychology, and I feel like I'm being assessed every damn day. Right? So you tell me, do you sometimes feel that way? And my wife think I'm crazy, man. How about you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like we're it's an ongoing assessment that you never know if you passed or failed. You only hope to finish the test.
So now I'm thinking because of that, that's your driving force. That's why you're so good at what you do. Is that right?
Well, my wife is absolutely, I'm gonna phrase like this, the inspiration for me to do as well as possible. Make sure that, she has high standards in general. So, I don't ever want to let those waver on my account. So everything we do, we try to do it at a certain level, just to make sure we're meeting the bar for sure. and I'm continuing to at least, get by on this test.
Hey, don't worry about it. When we come towards the end of the show, I got something for both of y'all. It's gonna turn into the newlywed game. Then we're gonna have some fun. All right. Now, Kimberly.
That's a real test. Lord,
right.
A real test.
Now, your husband in the spirit business. Okay. What did you think about that when you first found out about that?
I was excited for him. He's always, he has a passion for anything artistic or expression driven. You know what I mean? He's been to culinary school. He is a certified Kansas City barbecue chef. So he has that Epicurean palate. So in my mind, the business aspect of it made sense. Like, wow, you are the perfect person to blend spirits. He loves to read and learn new things. So you blending spirits, creating, that premium flavor profile, I feel like that was fitting for him. And if I saw how hard he worked prior to coming in here. So it's like, you're in this different space. Why not work hard at something that resonates with you, building legacy, and you have that artistic, expressive background. I was happy for him in the fact that I thought this would kind of be like food for your soul. You know what I mean? Like, this is something you're creating, you're putting everything into, you've worked hard for everyone else for 30 plus years. Why not work that hard for yourself?
That's right. So now your father actually bought you a barrel. Is that correct?
Yeah. I was actually deployed to Iraq for a bit of time, and I was as a civilian. And when I got back, I got back in January, so my family had waited to have Christmas until I got back. That year I got back was 2011. He had gifted me a small 1 gallon barrel, and that was really the start. Like, I started playing with that thing in the basement and like filling it up with stuff and blending stuff in there. And then that just became the go-to barrel whenever I had something at the house, which was quite often. At that time, I was single and I lived amongst a bunch of my single friends. So it was like we were always hanging out in my basement or in the backyard. And that just became the go-to pour for the evening. And then it wasn't probably until 6 or 7 years later that I realized that I could do that for a living. And then it was like down the rabbit hole. Yeah.
Crush that barrel.
So now, Kimberly, I noticed that at the golf event when we first met you, right? You were excited. I don't know if it was excited about getting people drunk, right? But you were
excited.
Okay, put that 300.
Talk a little bit about your 4 products you had that day that you were sampling.
Absolutely. So officially, I do the partnerships. So whenever I can have an activation somewhere come full circle, I'm always excited. I'm happy to be on site. I'm grateful. They've allowed us to share and communicate our craft and, educate people on what we do and where we are. I want to think, I've done so many since then. I want to think that particular day I had our 1932 bourbon whiskey, our Commander's Partnership bottle, where you can find us on the concourse and club level at the stadium. I had our vodka made with real Maryland vodka corn. I know I had the tequila because you purchased the tequila. Well, we call it our agave, but it's 100%. Yeah, there we go. Blue agave. Yes.
Yeah, he playing around with it. It should have been gone already.
Well, he had to save it and rescue it.
Yeah, you got to sip it.
Right. Sip and enjoy. And I believe I had our rum, which was recently awarded #1 rum in the United States by the London Spirits Competition. Great. So if you want to check out, we actually medaled in our signature, our bourbon, our rye, and our rum. And that's on the London Spirits Competition website. And they have all of the notes and all of the information. Funny story, we submitted for feedback, because we're like new. We just opened in October of 2024. And we were like floored. I don't think it hit us. Like we were processing it for a while when we found out we won medals. Like we were shocked. I mean,
and we won three more golds since then at the International Bartenders Spirits Competition. But yeah, we kind of just sent it out. I knew they were good, and we kind of sent it out to see kind of how they would land and get
going
feedback.
Up against titans in the industry, you know, we just opened in October.
Yeah, so it was a shock and an honor. So it was amazing.
I think I'm still processing that. Like,
yeah.
So congratulations!
Thank you.
Outstanding.
Thank you. And Armand and Wallace.
Hey, you know, this got to be.
I'm sorry.
What you say?
I was going to say that particular day, Armand and Roger were nice enough. I was saying that particular day, you and Roger were nice enough to come over and have a chat with me and have a little tasting experience and purchase bottles. So we're very grateful. That's how, because one activation leads to another. So with that partnership, and then look, now it led us here.
There you go.
Absolutely.
And it's going to lead me to it.
Absolutely. You know,
because I didn't play with mine. Mine's gone. There's no playing here.
This got to be the smartest and most intelligent guest that we had on the show. We got masters. We got. I mean, come on now. But
thank you.
In the spirit, huh?
So you're too
on you, Ayana.
Yeah.
So how do we go from a small barrel in the basement to a distillery?
Yeah. So experimenting in that barrel helped me really figure out what I like about. I'm a bourbon guy, so it helped me figure out like what I would like about bourbon. So I had an understanding of like how the bourbon that I like is made. And the one that's particular to me is a particular mash bill is 75% corn. Mash bill is the recipe. 75% corn, 21% rye, 4% malted barley that comes together to make a specific flavor profile that I enjoy. But it wasn't until I kind of was playing with it myself that I understood that. And then I started to try out other mash bills and just really landed on that one as the one I like. So, you know, as we're doing it in this small barrel over and over and over again over years, in 2016, 2017, two things happened. First thing was Whiskey Advocate magazine came out and talked about two new brands that were launching, and all they did was buy aged barrels and make their own whiskey, Barrel Bourbon and Bardstown Bourbon. Up until that point, I had no idea that you could do that. I thought you had to have a still like the one we have in Hondas, and you had to be like, in Kentucky somewhere in the woods, making your own thing, having your own farm. I didn't know that you could purchase. So that was the first thing. So I was like, oh, okay. So I could purchase larger barrels of this and make it. And then the other thing that happened was you look out at the landscape and like, hey, nobody is doing this. Nobody is doing this that looks like me. And at that point, all the wealth in the world that was generated from spirits, 0.1% of that went to any person of color, period. That same year is 2017, Uncle Nearest hit the street. And so then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute, I can buy barrels and do this thing that I'm doing. And oh, also there's someone that looks like me that is doing it too. So it's got to be possible. And I think that's why representation matters so much. So that if you see yourself or someone like you or your family or your friend, you can kind of identify with that and then, be confident that you could go down that same road. And so those two things kind of happened at the same time. And then it was like, okay, well, now how do I do it? And then that's that's the edge of the rabbit hole that you fall in and come up, 8 years later. and here we are. Yeah.
So what are the licensure requirements to have a distillery?
So you have to have the first thing that you have to get is you have to get a plate. Well, there are two ways to go about it. You could just put a label on a bottle, and no shade to anyone who does that. But I could right now go to someone who's making whiskey and say, I just want my label on that stuff. And maybe I'll give you a flavor profile or something. And you can produce that under my name or whatever name I give you. So that's one way to do it. And then you can be on the shelves instantaneously, almost like within a couple of, months, you could be on the shelf. The way we wanted to do it was the place was very critical to us. We're part of our ethos is together and community, and putting something in this area in particular that I grew up in, where there's never been anything between Bowie and Brandywine, and I've lived here almost my whole life. That's something that was unique that people could come to. So we wanted the place. To get the place, you have to get a distillery spirit, a DSP, a distilled spirits plant permit. To get that, you have to have a place that's zoned correctly. So we had to get the lease first. So we've been in this lease almost 5 years. We just opened in October. So I'll give you an idea of how long we've been paying to try to get open. So you get the lease here, then you submit your floor plan and what you plan to do to the federal government. The federal government gives you approval to open the spirits plant, the distilled spirits plant. Once they do that, then the state is able to give you a license to sell alcohol in the state. Once they do that, then the county gives you permission to sell alcohol in the county, and then also another requirement to make cocktails at the bar. So you have your DSP permit, your state permit, your county permit, then you have your county bar permit, and then you have your trader's license, which allows you to sell anything in the state. And then you also have like sales and use tax and typical things that any business has to do. So it's quite a bit of permits. And then to keep your permits active, you file paperwork essentially every single month for all three governments to make sure that you're in compliance with all the laws.
Wow, that does sound like a lot. I'm familiar with the spirits industry myself. We have a lot of parallels. So when we come down, I definitely want some barbecue and along with
he got it all.
Tequila. But Bowie State, shout out to Bowie State, BSU, absolutely. Pretty Girl County, absolutely. I'm from Pretty Girl County too, so we have a lot to talk about. But until then, Roger, on to you.
See that? See how easy it is to get a shout out. Now, see, I didn't want to throw no, because Armin and I, we go way back. But the only reason why Armin asked you about football, because we went to high school together. He's a big time football player. So that's the only reason why he asked you. And his son is a big time football player. But you know, he didn't choice because Armin put a football in his hand before he gave the boy Bob.
Oh.
I did.
But
where did he play?
Armin, he said where he
went to Southern Illinois.
Oh, okay. The Salukis?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I never seen a Saluki before in my life until I went down there, man. Some skinny dog.
Yeah.
What is that, a dog?
Yeah, it's a dog.
Man.
Yeah.
You won't see none of them in the hood. Yeah. I noticed I slip sometimes, but I noticed that looking at all your citations and stuff, you know, but I see you got something from Pratt and MIT.
Oh yeah, so I mean, in my previous careers, I went to the Pratt Institute and got a certification in design thinking, which is just a way of brainstorming and coming up with ideas and executing quickly. So that was part of DIA when I was there as in the talent development realm. And then also same thing for MIT. I moved from being general talent management and development to specifically for IT professionals. And in that transition, I went to MIT to the Sloan Executive Institute and spent almost 2 years there to get the executive certification in strategy and innovation. So things that I'm still able to apply and lean on right now in the distillery. But those were very much part of my career coming up as, you know, the executive ranks in the government and then in private industry.
And you know what? It's funny, you know, and you know, congratulations. We're super proud of you. We're always ready to see somebody that look like us get all that type stuff. But it was the two drunk guys that's back in the woods with the distillery that got you where you are.
Absolutely right.
And the long bed and the corn cob pipe.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
carrying on his shoulder.
So I'm looking at Tracy said, you said your parents, I mean, Kim, you said your parents had you working young, and that's probably
I
why.
wanted to.
Yeah,
I always
because
needed to work. Yeah, so I wanted to.
yeah, but see, when Armin and I were still struggling trying to set up our table, you came in with your little suitcase and everything. By the time we got our stuff, our chairs together, she was already set up with people already. That's how fast she was moving. And then so Armin was looking over there, and I said, you know what? She got liquor over there. Let's go see.
Look, I have wheeled that case into a many of places, a many of days. I feel like I have an expert protocol on how to carry the case, my table, my pop-up. One trip.
Oh, you had it hooked up like 3 minutes. And you know that morning, I ain't putting their business out there at that golf tournament. It was 8:15, and them mugs was chugging it down. It was chugging it down like it was 1:15. I told Armin, not because I was shocked. I said, Armin, that dude back there drinking a double shot. Armin said, yeah, he all relaxed. He'd been there before. He said, yeah, that's what they do. I said, man, it's 8:15. Armin says 12 o'clock somewhere. That's true.
There's no rules on the golf course.
It was a
It's
lesson.
not. And you should have seen them. They was out there falling down and whatnot. I was out there cracking up. Ball one way, club one way, they the other way. Oh man, that was funny. Yeah, but it's no shock to me that you told me that you wanted to work young because you move quickly, very professionally. You know what to do. You know how to get the crowd there, and both of y'all together. Now I'm getting a little personal. No, I'm getting a little nosy because I'm from the hood. How did y'all meet? Here we go.
Well, you gonna tell the story?
You tell the story.
So we met in DC at a happy hour. I was actually on a date with somebody else, but they hadn't got there. They hadn't got there yet. And
Wait.
Go tell the whole story.
Wow.
So let me get this straight. If you're going on a date with somebody and they're supposed to meet you somewhere, they got a time limit.
Hey, don't be late. So I went to stand by the bar while I was waiting, and they had chips on the bar. It looked like in a straight line all the way down the bar, like they were public chips. And so I looked left, looked right. I was like, okay, this must be for everybody. So I just started eating the chips that were in front of me. And then she turned around and was like, those are my chips. What are you doing? And I was like, oh, I thought they were for everybody. And then we started talking, and it was getting close to the time that the other young lady was supposed to arrive. So I was like, man, why don't you let me take you to dinner? Because they had it was at Oyamel in DC, and they have sort of a dining room towards the back. And I said, well, why don't you let me take you for dinner instead of having hors d'oeuvres at the bar? And that took 20 minutes because I'm an independent woman. I can pay for my own dinner. I was like, I can pay for my own tacos. I was like, well, if you will allow me to.
Dating in DC. Don't order a bunch of stuff and leave me with that. If you don't want to pay the tab, I'm good over here. I'm good.
So as I'm like texting on the side, like, hey, I don't think I'm gonna make it. I'm trying to get her on the other side. And so eventually she agreed, and we sat over there for probably the next 3 hours.
I get it.
And just and talked. And that was the day we met.
Wow. So what I got from that was the independent woman through the hiding spot before the other woman came, and she was sitting up there slowing you up.
Yeah.
The independent woman became the only woman.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Wow. Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyway, so we gonna. I guess I got nosy enough. I'm gonna tell you. You know what? That woman might be looking, so I'm gonna turn it over to Armin. That's what happened. Talk about he couldn't make it.
I had no clue.
Oh, Tracy.
Out the happy hour.
I didn't tell her that until many months later.
Yeah, and Kim don't bailed out already. Talking about, I didn't know, girl. I didn't know. We married now. It's too late. We got distillery. You want a drink? We give you a drink. Go ahead, go ahead. They got me tripping. Go ahead.
You know what? Hey, you two are hilarious, man. I'm telling you. Hey, let me we may start just a little sooner than expected. So Bo,
Mm-hmm.
you had a date and you shot your jump shot, right? You shot your jump shot to Kimberly,
And
all
she
right?
blocked it.
And now what?
That's
Hey,
funny.
look, seriously, on a serious tip though, okay, you used to work for the federal government, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is some of the stuff you did in the federal government?
So, some of the stuff I did.
You see,
Yeah, yeah,
this is my
yeah.
serious side now.
Okay.
I'm not laughing
Um,
now.
so most of my career was in talent management, development. So it was mostly training, but it was also I was a executive agent, so like the sort of quote unquote owner of the systems that enable training, but then also some HR functions and some associated technology. So like if you've ever logged on to like a learning management system, taking an online course, we did that internally within DoD. And so my job was to make sure, those systems were one, educationally sound, they were delivering the right tools and training, but then they were also up and running and everyone could access them at all times. When I was deployed, I worked more as a analyst on government formation. So I went and got trained on that, and before I went overseas, and so I wanted to. Our agency was mostly analysts, so I really wanted to understand the job that I was helping to train people do. So I took the sort of rotation to go on this deployment and really learn how to be an analyst, so that I have a better understanding of how to help the folks that I was, charged with helping for the rest of my career there. And then very similarly, I did the same thing at Health and Human Services as a government employee. And then took a job in private industry with Sonos, a company that makes wireless speakers out of Santa Barbara. And it was the same kind of a challenge, which was to try to establish pathways and career pathways for folks in that company, and then also help organize how folks were getting their development and excelling in their careers, kind of thing.
So now, Kimberly, that sounds very serious, doesn't it? Very heavy. Did you have any clue? Did you have any clue that your husband was that crazy?
Not at all.
Any clue?
People, there is a professional side and a personal side, and I don't like, now that we're working together, even still, the professional side sometimes takes me back. I'm like, I'm taken aback. I'm like, oh, I forgot. You do have this professional side, because I only know you from the social aspect. You know what I mean? Like during COVID, when we were working from home, and I would hear him in meetings and with his staff, and I'm like, who is that? Is that you? What do y'all do? What are you talking? What happened? Like, what are you working on again? So no, I had no idea, because prior to that, when before we were married, I never heard or saw what he did during the day. You might talk about your day a little bit. We kind of tried to make it a point, because we both had such hectic jobs, to kind of just turn it off. He definitely helped me with turning off, because I'll work all night and all day. And he's like, you can't do this. You got to think about, the social aspect. Would you appreciate it if I did that? Let's, try and have but now we're kind of back in the same vein where it's like 24/7. Even still, he's the one telling me, I can't. I need a break. We've been at this. It's 10:30 at night. Don't mention anything else about work. We have to turn it off. And I'm just like,
it's 1:45, and she's like, hey, when we take that rum to such, I'm like, time out. Put it on tomorrow.
Exactly.
We talk about rum after breakfast tomorrow.
Yes. Oh, he will tell me all the time, please let me have breakfast in peace. Please let me have my tea in peace. I work this hour.
My office hours are.
Okay, Big Red.
There you go. 9 to 5.
9 to
Yeah.
5.
Yes. And look, he probably will hang me out a window if I come at him too hard.
Y'all pointing.
Just say that on.
Like, wait a minute.
That's big red. That's big red.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, Yana. I'm on you.
There's too many black folk on this show.
So, as I mentioned, I have spent some time in the spirits industry, so I understand the ups and downs of the industry. And you mentioned that there aren't a lot of people who look like us. And so, what are some of the challenges that you faced not being in the majority when it comes to this particular industry?
I think, so I think some of the challenges are like they're unseen, but you hear them when people talk to you. So like I'll give you a great example of one thing that we hear all the time is when people taste our spirits for the first time, especially if they don't look exactly like us, is they look up and they kind of look at us like, wait a minute, this is good. I was going to buy it because, I felt good about buying it from you, but I didn't think it was going to be good where I would want to buy it and buy more. And so, there's some code language built in there, if you've heard it all your life, right? So, I didn't know that I didn't know you were capable of doing that. You know what I mean? So there's that is sort of like the unseen stuff. And then there's also, when you just go into a room, in my career, I think I've had the privilege, and it's kind of helped me being the only one in the room for a lot of my career that looked like me. And so now when I go into those rooms, I'm not, intimidated to be show up authentically and be who I am for our brand. But it can absolutely be, at first glance, like, oh Lord, here's another sort of homogenous group of people that I got to try to win over in order to do the things that I'm trying to do. But it's getting. I will say that the last 5 to 10 years, the winds have shifted a lot, and there's a lot of us circling the wagons and doing our own thing. And I think part of the challenge, honestly, is amongst our own folks, is trying to get them to move off of something that they've been a fan of for many, many, many years, right? And even, you kind of get the side eye, like, oh, you're trying to do that like such and such. Like, no, we're doing it like us, but it's good, right? And, so those are a lot of the barriers that we still try to chip away at every time we go out and do tastings, every time we're introducing our spirits to new people. We have to find a way to open people's sort of hearts and minds to something new, and that's all people. So they're so I think that's my kind of take on it. You have a different perspective, because a lot of times
I have a. First, I want to shout out everybody who's watching who attended Bowie State University, BSU. Yes, that's all in the comment section. Shout out to my Bulldogs, absolutely. I would shout out. Have a different question for Kim. Same question. However, again, being in the industry, I noticed that not only is there a disparity amongst African American people, but there's also a disparity amongst women. So, what are some of the challenges you face as a woman in the industry?
You know what? When I first went out, I had to reframe. I don't even look at it as a challenge anymore. I look at it as an opportunity, because the amount of women I encounter and the way their face gets super tight when I tell them what I brought, to a tasting, or they're about to taste. Oh, I don't drink brown liquor. Oh, I'm wine. Blah, blah, blah. I said, I used to be just like you. I was in the same vein. And it's not so much about you not drinking it. You just haven't found the one that speaks to you. And I'm like, I just want to give you a little drop, because there is an ethos around conversation in the bourbon world and the tequila world, vodka, what have you. And we want to be a part of, togetherness, the discussion. And I said, what if you had one that you did like and you could bring to that event, or you could share or discuss with, A lot of times the majority is men. So the male folks that you engage with, what if I told you you might like this one? And when I put it in front of women in that manner, I may not always get them to buy, but I do always get them to taste. And they do always resonate because I go over the fact that on all of our bottles, our tasting notes are featured there. And I said, I'm going to take you through a tasting exercise. I do the exercise with them. It's just a little bit. And I said, I want you to pick up those flavors. I said, I'm not giving you something because I know what you're thinking. Because typically, you know, it's that you immediately get hit with a mouthful of ethanol. And so it's like, you know, a niche palate. I'm like, this has notes that I'm going to go over, and I bet you I can help you identify, and it's going to give you a new perspective. And I said, there are certain brands, and I won't name any names, where you don't taste anything but the ethanol. But with this one, you're going to taste those tasting notes. We're going to identify these, and you're going to be able to pick them up, and you're going to say, okay, I like this, I don't like that, what have you. And when I engage with women from that perspective, it completely changes the conversation. I have introduced and sent many a woman with a couple of bottles or 2 bottles. Oh, I can't wait to have this with my husband, my friends, take it to this event, that and the third. My favorite thing is to hear, I never drink brown liquor, but I like this. That is the highest compliment. I get so excited. I'm like, yes, wonderful. I'm happy to introduce you to something different, something new, give you a different perspective because I get where you're coming from. So I honestly say, not a challenge, but an opportunity that I don't take lightly. And I'm always happy, you know, something that, you know, my husband's name is on to say, you know, today I got back and 30 women at this event bought the bottle because they don't normally drink it. But when I went over the exercise and I went over the notes, they were excited and engaged with it and wanted to take it with them and start another conversation somewhere else about it. And he's always like, okay. It really does. I don't take it lightly. It really does make a difference when we can do that, you know, in the field with especially women, for me at least.
I don't know what you did when you were 15 or when you were with the Secret Service, but whatever it is, it prepared you for this moment. You are excellent, an excellent salesperson. And I haven't even tasted anything, and now I want to taste it.
I'll just caveat that when we come home for this tastings, like when she comes home for these tastings, all excited, it's usually at 11:30 at night. Like she's dragging in. She's excited about, hey, let me tell you everything that just happened. I'm like, okay, host, let's calm down. I just woke up again, so we can so we can have this conversation. But she's our number one salesman. Like, I mean, you know, when I said earlier, I kind of send her in a lot of those rooms. It is because she's really good at it. She's really good at engaging with people and also taking the journey with people who haven't been spirits fans or not. Like, she's really good at sort of taking that journey with them and getting them to, you know, the place that she just talked about. So she's better at it than I am. And that's hard for me to admit, but it's the truth.
But we all have our strong suits.
Absolutely.
So let's go to Amon. I believe he has some newlywed questions, and then we can get ready to close out. Go ahead, Amon.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. You see that right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
from my wife.
That's Blue Diamond.
Thank you, Miss Wallace.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So you know, I'm thinking that I'm thinking that's like that because of that psychologist right there. You know, that connection was made. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out psychology. I got one.
So,
Wallace. Dr. Wallace.
Dr. Wallace.
Dr. Wallace.
Get it right.
Get it right.
Yeah, she put it on there
So that
twice.
means
To make sure y'all want to know. She put it on there twice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Hey, so Bo, so we know that you met your wife at a bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Happy hour, right? You met your wife at happy hour. So we know that you shot the first jump shot, right? So who said I love you first?
Oh, you deep. You going too deep, man. you going that's a messenger. That's when you send on a messenger just for the that's what that's for. You spotting people.
I have no idea. I'll be
There you
honest.
go. Good
I have
call.
no idea. Yeah, I have no idea who said it first. It seemed like it was
The
30 years
bourbon.
ago, but it wasn't.
The bourbon. The bourbon said it first.
Yeah, the bourbon said it first.
Boom.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna help y'all, homie.
Hey.
I'm gonna help y'all, homie. The bourbon said it first.
I like that.
So I could tell you when I knew it. When I knew it was a couple months after we met. She took me for my birthday to my favorite restaurant at the time, and we had just had a discussion about it in passing. So I didn't think that that's where we were going, or that she even remembered where we were talking about. But she had scheduled a whole day around it, and I'm a foodie, so that's tugs at my heartstrings when people take me to get something to eat. So that's when that's when I knew it was Woodbury Kitchen, just outside of Baltimore City. In Baltimore was my favorite restaurant at the time. So that weekend sealed the deal.
Boom.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just thought I was doing something nice. That's when you knew.
Oh, see?
Uh-oh.
See?
I never knew
Uh-oh.
that. I
Go
was
back
just
to the
doing
bourbon.
nice for his birthday.
Go back to the bourbon, homeboy. Go back to the bourbon. Go back to the bourbon, homie.
Hey, did you see the look on Bo's face that time? Did you see the look on his face?
Put him on the spot,
Huh?
man.
He got one.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know what? I'm really excited about what you two are doing and have done. It's great knowing that there's a Black-owned distillery that's successful as you guys have been. So, for you to answer this question, I'm going to ask you: do you have any kids?
Mm-hmm. 2.
You have two. Awesome. Boy, girl.
2 girls, 23 and about to be 14.
Awesome. All right, so starting with you first, ladies first, Bo. Kimberly, what encouraging words would you want to leave to all of the viewers out there who would like to be in the spirit business?
And you're gonna have to pull. I would say encourage you. I would say you're gonna have to pull within. You're stronger than you think. You may have to cry through it, holler through it, roll on the floor, but keep going because you are stronger than you think. It is with any entrepreneurial endeavor. It is just a lot. It is a lot, and I feel like the spirits world is one of the more heavier ones. So if that is your dream, you're stronger than you think. You can do it. Whatever you got to do to get through day by day. If it feels hard, it's okay. You're going to make it. Don't give up. It sounds cliche, but just keep pushing. You'll make it. You just have to keep pushing.
And we're right in the thick of that right now. Right?
Awesome.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay, so what about you? Same question for you, Bo.
I would say, that I think that's a great answer. And I think that is entirely one of the things that leads to success is just the idea of not giving up. You get hurdles, you're gonna have up days and down days. The other thing I would say is like whatever that thing is that's calling you to do it, because I didn't go into this business lightly, because there is can be a connotation around spirits and liquor and all of that stuff. And so it took a while, even though it was something I really was interested in and I was happy doing, and I knew how I wanted to sort of bring it to the world, which is to bring, the widest tent and bring people together around these spirits. But, it still took a while because I was still, working it out through my own conscience. Like, how are you going to show up and be different and be something that uplifts the community and not something that's just interested in taking from our community, which a lot of brands that are big name brands that could care less, about what goes on around where we live. They're just interested in selling the product, and we had to be different in order for this to make sense for me. So I would just say, whatever that calling is, you just never know what it is or what it's going to bring out of you. So follow it and see where it goes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, I want to thank you too for being on the show. But before I say what I have to say, Yana, do you have anything you want to say?
Absolutely. Want to thank our sponsors and our donors. We thank you. We thank our viewing audience for watching each and every Wednesday. And we want to thank you for being on the show. This has been fun. I can't wait to meet you guys.
Awesome. I can't wait to meet you as well.
Yes, we're so grateful for you all having us on the show. We truly appreciate it.
What about you, Raj?
Yeah, I know y'all see me doing all this and stuff. You know, I'm giving my grandson live with me. He's 23, but he's roommate. You know, he up there asking me questions. I almost gave him a finger. You know, he's supposed to be talking to me right now. Hands gonna be thrown. Hands gonna be thrown. Keep bail money. I keep bail money. But yo, it's really a great honor to have you guys on the show. All jokes aside, super proud of you. You know, I was going through your bio. I was like, wow, this guy, he done everything. I had to go back and look at some of my stuff because, you know, back in the day, I was a G14 guy. I actually did used to do the chemical warfare treaty for the country. But that's a story for another time. So I know what it's like being the only person in the room. When you walk up in there, I remember one time I was giving a briefing to Colin Powell and President Bush, and I heard one of them generals say, he giving a briefing. I almost wanted to say something, but you know, you can't in that environment. Keep your head up, keep on moving. But you guys are doing great. Now, Armin talking about sharing. When I get that next bottle, I swear I'm not. Believe that. I know y'all caught that. Nobody. But we appreciate you guys for coming on. See you soon.
Thank you. See
all
you
so
soon.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Hey, you see, that's why yours is gone, right? You know, that's why yours is gone. You want to be a nice guy and shit.
You know, let me tell you something.
Hey, look,
you about to have me be short some nephews. Keep yakking.
hey,
No, I keep it underneath the bed. Pull it right out.
hey, but look, Bo and Kimberly, I want to thank you guys for being on tonight. You guys are truly a power couple. And not only that, you're legendary. But everyone out there, I want you to support the show. Support the show. We can use your money. You know, if you like what you see, you know, donate to the show and help keep it going. You know, also we have some great stuff on our website. You can go to the website and purchase some items. You know, keep current with who the guest's going to be. Next week we have another a musician, a musical wizard that Roger knows well. You know, he'll be on the show next week, and the week after we'll have Pastor Antonio Palmer on the show. He's going to talk about his book that he just completed. It's a best-selling book. You know, we're gonna have a nice time. But until then, thank you guys for coming on the show, and we see you guys next week. Peace.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.